Hello people, this is Ryder here to review the Ultraman Blazar DX Blazar Stone 04 Tilsonite Sword Set. So in similar vein as Set 03, this is our only corresponding stone set of the month, to which obviously comprises of the core stone, the Garmon Blazar Stone, which is our sole kaiju stone of the set, to which obviously, as you can tell from here, Garmon is basically a giant version of Pikmin. And obviously Garmon actually allows Blazar to summon the next review, what we just called it. And obviously in a traditional fashion, to get the new generation out, we do have our 3 new generation Ultras. We have G Primitive, Rosso Flame, and Blue Aqua, to which here they are right here. Here's Blazar, surprisingly not with the Tilsonite Sword. And I really do like the lightning they added here. I really do like that. And then the back here, still doesn't show the Tilsonite Sword. Here we have the stones out of their packaging in traditional fashion. Taking a look at the main stone for the set, the Garmon Stone, to which I did not know was yellow. I thought this was like a lime green. But to, like, because of these stones we've been looking at, to know that this is actually yellow is actually really surprising now. And gives a different outlook, definitely. This one is pretty interesting because this Garmon is kind of the only stone that actually emphasizes its, like, ability, as you have the lightning around it, which is pretty interesting. Whether or not it's just, you got Garmon there. And this one is B003, so it falls after Niji Kagachi. There's that. Then here we have the Jade Stone Primitive, to which it's in the same cast as Belial. If we were to compare, they are related, so it makes sense to make them similar if it actually wants to focus. Again, it's the more, I think this is what they consider pink and such, going off of like the hyper keys. And then why does it not want to focus? Here's the track, and B114. Then here we have, do we see, I don't know, Rosso and Blue were weird with, because I don't know if we cover them together, but we would just cover Rosso by himself. Rosso is red, just to make sure to point out. Obviously, I think they just call this the Rosso Stone. I don't think they specify the form just because the other forms aren't programmed. And then this one is B122. That's blue. This one's B121. Speaking of blue, again, it has the darker, or like standard blue and such. This one again is B122. So let's use these within the Blazar brace. So obviously we'll start off with summoning. No, that's technically a spoiler. Obviously the standard standby. So there, because again I already spoiled it, they did that entire jingle just to summon a sword, which is pretty cool. This is honestly my favorite jingle out of all of Blazar's main crystals and such. And I really like the animation too. I like how I personally can't really make out what it's trying to do, but like I really do like the lightning slowly falling down and such. Like that's pretty cool. And again, just like the Blazar Stone and the Niji Kagachi Stone, there are 4 additional sounds. There's Gento actually announcing the Tilsonite Sword. The Tilsonite. Tilsonite. It's pronounced Tilsonite. Any sound of the Tilsonite Sword. And everything else. Here's G. So here's the actual standby of the G Riser alongside Riku's voice from the Z Riser. Really like Jeeds overall. Jeeds does a really good job actually replicating the pre-Rise transition. Obviously, Jeed is a new generation, so he has 3 sounds. Again, because of the hyper key, they pulled the one from the first episode as opposed to actually using the one from the Z Riser. But yet they used that from the Memorial Edition Z Riser. And interestingly enough, they made that one entire sound as opposed to 2. Rosso is going to be similar to what we've seen with Grigio. So obviously we have Katsumi announcing the element. And there we have the animation for Rosso, to which I won't touch on it now, just because Rosso and Blue have the same ones. But he has 3 sounds. Flame Sphere shoot. And then Blue. I think the standbys are the same, which is not accurate. And there was the animation for Blue. I think for the most part, which makes sense, Rosso and Blue carry some of the same aspects, but for the most part, they are different just because of the kanji. Obviously, Rosso, that's my favorite part of their animations. I like the kanji of fire and water and such, which is kind of disappointing that Grigio doesn't have one. Like, I get why she doesn't have her eyes, but it's also more disappointing when we get to the Tri Squad, because if Rosso, I get why they gave Rosso and Blue individual ones, because they're the title characters as opposed to Titus and Fuma. Anyways. Aqua Stream. And the pre-transmission phrase. So I think this set is definitely on par with set 3. But I guess I'll say stone correlation wise, this one's a bit stronger. Just obviously because we have Rosal and Blue together and G. Like these three ultras, I think are really nice together, and I love the Garmon stone. Like this one's my favorite. I've already said it a lot. I think it's just the fact that a weapon got its own summoning jingles. Like, wow. Like it has to be that like significant to get something like that. Because like most of the time it's just like, if we go from like Ryder and Sentai, it's just typically like just announcements, or with like Ultraman, typically it's just the sound, or like the creation of the sound. But I think it was with, or like like again, like Ultraman has done weapons that have announced the weapon, it has done toys with the weapons that have announced themselves, but that's because it's the host announcing it. So like obviously that makes sense. But like this is like the Tilsonite Sword has its own like entire composition. Like, that's cool. And I think also the thing too is that I think these three just have my favorite in terms of like the animations and such. Because I think I'm starting to realize that like I think these aren't trying to replicate the actual rises. Because I think that's only with Blazars. But I think the majority of them are supposed to try to replicate. They're either trying to replicate like an element from the rise, or they're trying to replicate the like rise scene, which is what these three are definitely doing. Obviously, Jeed's I would say is a more bridge because it's at least replicating the eyes that show up during the rise, but it's not like obviously you can't recreate the clouds and such. And again with orbs, like again, when it like goes through each of the elements, that is a pre like screen thing and such. And X's is more like again replicating the background details and such. So it's just like I do like that they're going through that detail and such. But I think definitely these three are the strongest. Besides, like, I think I pointed out too, Ginga's also pretty strong. Ginga and Victory are also pretty strong too. But again, just like set 3, I started getting these off of HLJ for like $9 a piece for them and such. And I think hopefully you can actually get it off of HLJ if it's still around. If it's not, just go get it off of Mandarake and at least get it for at least low as $10 and such. And just like Nichi Kagachi, if you only solely want to get the Garamon Stone, just get it alongside get the one bundled along with the Memorial Edition, because obviously I can't tell you to get these individually unless you do find a listing of both of these stones individually away from their sets, because I can't tell you to get the alternatives because they're different sounds. So, which is not a bad thing, but obviously like for someone that actually wants like the actual DX sound, basically the actual official one, then yeah, you're gonna have to try to track that down. But that'll have to do this review. This is Ryder, and I'll leave you people